Savannah Chrisley just revealed something genuinely devastating. On a recent episode on her podcast, she opened up about the time she tried to take her own life.
Never really spoken about it before.
She was really honest and shared some very shocking and upsetting details about what happened back then.
I took a bottle of pills.
Savannah talked to her guest, Dr. Daniel Amen, about her experience.
Obviously didn't work because I'm sitting here today.
She even asked him for advice since she admitted to having some issues with her memory. Listen to how she described it.
It feels so foggy.
Dr. Amen said that she should definitely have that checked, as it could be a sign of something being wrong.
If you had clarity and now you don't, something happened.
And Savannah seemed to take his advice very seriously. It was clear from the podcast that she was genuinely curious about what Dr. Amen had to say. And some of the things they went over in detail were just heartbreaking. When Savannah was a teenager, she had a lot on her plate. She struggled with her mental health, and it got so bad that she eventually tried to end her own life while she was still in her teens. She talked about this before, but only very briefly. She revealed it shortly before her parents reported to prison, but she's never really gone into more detail about what exactly happened back then. That's understandable since this is obviously an extremely sensitive topic. I wouldn't blame her for not wanting to discuss it in public, but in one of the most recent episodes on her podcast Unlocked, she talked to Dr. Amen, and she actually brought it up so that she could ask him some questions. Savannah said that she was thankful that her attempt wasn't successful. She admitted that she took a bottle of pills back then to try to end her own life. Fortunately, she's still with us today. But this doesn't mean that what happened didn't leave some scars. For one, I think it's safe to say that this must have been a very traumatic thing for her to go through. Trying to end your own life is very serious and a drastic step, and it's sad that Savannah felt like this was her only option back then. But from what she told Dr. Amen, she's been experiencing some physical challenges after her attempt as well. She said that she felt that the medicine she took affected her memory in some way. According to Savannah, prior to her attempt, her memory was much better and clearer, but ever since then, her memory has been kind of foggy. She apparently often feels frustrated with her brain. She even said that her memory was the most frustrating thing in the world, which is a pretty strong statement, and it makes me wonder why she didn't approach someone about this before Dr. Amen. I mean, I obviously don't know this for sure. It's possible that she has discussed this with someone before, but from how she brought it up with Dr. Amen, it did kind of seem like this was the first time she was actually addressing it. Dr. Amen, who is very interested in the way the human brain works, told her that they should do something about it. He suggested that she should get a brain scan, and honestly, I feel like Savannah should definitely follow his advice. Dr. Amen said that if she never had these issues before, then something must have happened, which makes a lot of sense, and I hope that she does follow through with this and gets her brain checked. It was pretty amazing to hear Savannah discuss these things so openly. She and Dr. Amen also talked about the high rate of these attempts among children, which was very heartbreaking to listen to. You could tell that Savannah really cared about this topic, which does make a lot of sense. She now basically has kids because she takes care of her siblings. Plus, she went through this herself too, so it's only natural that the topic is close to her heart. She's even admitted to this before. She said that she knew that if she was feeling this way, many other people were probably feeling the exact same way, and she wanted to take what she was going through and make a difference in at least one person's life. That's honestly admirable. And I'm really proud of her for talking about difficult things like this in such an open and honest way. This wasn't the only topic Savannah and Dr. Amen discussed though. She also talked about her ex-fiance, Nick Cardelis. Surprisingly, this was also brain related. Nick suffered several traumatic brain injuries while they were still together. According to Savannah, he had as many as 9 concussions, and this apparently really affected their relationship and everyday life. Savannah confessed to Dr. Amen that she could literally see the effects of this on him. This is actually something that's Dr. Amen's specialty, so it made sense why Savannah brought it up. He's done a lot of research on traumatic brain injuries, especially injuries that happen because of people playing contact sports. Dr. Amen said that kids shouldn't ever play contact sports like football or hockey because it's just too dangerous. Nick is an ice hockey player, and I feel like he could confirm Dr. Amen's statement, at least based on what Savannah said. She said that Nick struggled a lot after his injuries. Apparently, he had constant headaches, but there's more. She also noticed that he would sometimes lose his temper and make irrational decisions that made no sense at all. Everything about the situation was also very public, which made things even harder on their relationship, as well as on them as individuals. Nick and Savannah obviously aren't a couple anymore, but they went through a lot together. Like Savannah, Nick also tried to take his own life once. This was in February 2022, and it was terrifying. But Savannah was there to support him, which was just amazing of her. Dr. Amen and Savannah also discussed some other things. Savannah brought up her little brother Grayson. According to her, he takes creatine, and she actually asked Dr. Amen about pre-workouts and his thoughts on all that. Dr. Amen said that they were definitely substances, and Savannah said that she hoped Grayson would listen to that. The two of them also briefly touched on ADHD, mainly because Chloe has it. Dr. Amen emphasized the importance of eating well and living healthily for people with ADHD. This was honestly a pretty hilarious part of the conversation. Savannah admitted that she was obsessed with Dr. Pepper. She apparently drinks a lot of it. She loves soda, and she will sometimes even have it for breakfast. Dr. Amen made it clear that this wasn't the healthiest choice she could make. Later on, they discussed how Savannah grew up having Chick-fil-A for breakfast every morning, which wasn't exactly healthy either. Another topic that Dr. Amen and Savannah discussed was parenting. Savannah opened up about her own parents. She especially praised Todd. She said that when she was younger, he would always tell her that he was there to be her parent and not her best friend. She apparently hated that when she was younger. He would tell her no when she wanted to do something he didn't think was a good idea. And as a kid, she really didn't like that. But now as an adult, she actually appreciates this. She knows that he loved and cared about her. And not every kid gets to have that. Savannah said that she was very grateful for Todd, and honestly, the whole moment was pretty touching. Based on the reactions to this podcast episode, I'd say that this was actually one of Savannah's best. She definitely asked a lot of interesting questions and seemed very engaged in the conversation. And I can definitely appreciate her talking about all these difficult topics so openly and honestly. It's important to do that, as it can help a lot of people going through the same thing. And I think Savannah did really well with how she approached it. But what do you guys think? Do you agree that it's important to talk about these things? What did you make of the podcast episode? Let me know in the comments below.